Are you having a David day?
Friends, this is the Closing Time podcast with David Mansour. I am honored to be joined by two extraordinary women, Tena Carraher and Miss Erin Drez. Both have experienced profound loss early in life, yet turned that grief into purpose, founding organizations that bring healing, support, and hope to others. So Tina co-created the Daisy Foundation to thank extraordinary nurses in memory of her husband, and Erin co-leads Two Small Coins, offering widows tangible support and emotional care. So welcome, ladies. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. It's
Welcome.
great to be here. Glad you didn't fall.
Almost. All right. So good. So let's start with, tell me, Tina, you have the most amazing husband. Yes, Mr. John.
Yes.
Congratulations on his retirement. Who is your favorite of John's friends?
Well,
he's got a lot.
He does. I mean,
most of them are girls, though. I don't know if you come in the morning.
I love Dory. I love Cindy. Matt Tuff is great. But you're right up there, David.
Right up there.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You made the list.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So, Tina, you tell us about your family now. What's going on with you now? I know you've got kids in college and all over and working summer camps and doing awesome things. Just anything you want us to know.
Okay. Well, 3 girls, 3 daughters. One is married. They just celebrated their 1-year anniversary in May, and they live in Charleston. Lauren, my middle, is in her final semester of college at the University of Georgia. Wow. So we're looking forward to her graduating in December. And youngest daughter, Kate, is starting her junior year at UGA and is really thriving. She had a great summer camp experience where she was a counselor for a camp at Lake Martin for disabled campers. Wow. So some of the campers needed a little bit of help. Some needed everything done for them. She had elementary school age through older adults, elderly even. And she just loved it. So that was a really great experience for her. Wow. And they start class tomorrow.
So physically, the spectrum of disability is huge now with, I can't think of the word. What is
autism?
The word? Autism to obviously physical disabilities. It's all that whole
everything, yeah. So some were nonverbal, some were in a wheelchair, some had different minor disabilities, but they needed some help. And like I said, then some needed all care for them for the time they were at camp.
Right.
And they just met them where they were and provided them a great camp experience. They take them swimming, zip lining, on boat rides to go tubing. Wow. They have concerts, they have shows, they have a talent show. It's a really great week for the kids. And the counselors, she met a lot of great new people that were not only from the Alabama area, but they had an international cohort that came. So there were counselors from Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia that she really loved connecting with and meeting and learning about their culture. And a lot of times, because we have a small place over there, they would come to our house over the weekend when they were off and get to hang out. Or it's because the international campers stayed at the camp the whole time, where other people could go home for the weekend. Yeah. So that was really fun for her to get to know them and be able to show them around the lake. And they did stuff in Atlanta, and they came to Peachtree City. So it was a really good experience.
So what's the name of that camp if anybody's interested?
It's Camp ASCA, ACCA, and it's on Lake Martin. I would say probably Jackson's Gap, Alabama would be the area to look. Okay. But a beautiful camp right on the water.
Now, is that the camp that I thought it was a YMCA, so it's probably different. I know on the boat we went, they had a water slide that went from a hill. It was like a wide one that went all the way into the lake. They got some cool camps.
Wow. Yes, that might be a different one. And I think there's also a camp for deaf people at the lake as well. So
that might even have been a scout camp.
Yeah, it could have been.
Mm-hmm. Because I remember David saying something. I was like, I wonder why, because we just camped there just at the campground. Mm-hmm. But I thought that would be a cool place to go to a camp.
Right. So it was a really good experience.
Awesome.
Neat.
Yeah. So you're a Georgia Tech family that's been converted. I got to throw that jab in there.
Yes. So John went to Tech, and of our 3 girls, they all went to Georgia. And it took them a while to wear red and black
It took them to? They took
No, they were
took
all
John.
in. It took John some time.
Yeah.
And we finally converted him. And, one year we took a picture, I think it was at Thanksgiving, where he had a UGA sweatshirt on. And we took a family photo just for us. And I put it on a Christmas card. And he was...
it was Thanksgiving?
It was a little miffed. Well, we took a group family photo, but he was wearing a Georgia
that's
sweatshirt.
Georgia Tech weekend.
But then I put it on our Christmas card.
Okay.
We were all at Georgia. But no, he came around.
Yeah.
He came around.
That's tough. I think as we get older, it's not as passionate. Like, I think I would really struggle if Max went to Florida or Auburn or Tennessee. Anywhere else, there's a lot of other schools that I don't like. And I wouldn't want to wear their colors, but I surely would. My nephew's at Texas, and I would wear a Texas hat.
Right. I think once you get over the initial shock, you'd be all in.
Like, what did I do wrong?
Like,
now, you clearly were extremely successful parent of the year.
I was, but not John, because he was gunning for somebody to go to Georgia Tech. But that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And Miss Erin, what are you doing today?
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, it's
with
not
you guys.
today in particular, but you've got a couple kids running around out there just starting schools.
I do. They're back to school. We're in week 2. I've got Tyler started 6th grade, so transition to middle school. And Caroline is a junior in high school. So we're starting to make our college list, tours this year, all of that.
And they're driving each other. Your daughter's driving herself.
She's got her first car. It's super fun. And
that's
good.
awesome.
It's good.
All right. Well, let's change the energy. So you're both widows.
Great segue.
Bring
Great
that down.
segue, David.
I mean,
Transitions is my specialty.
So smooth.
So smooth. We
Yeah.
do have that in common.
Yes.
You are both widows, but the whole point of us getting all together is you both started incredible, what did we say? What were we going to say?
Nonprofit.
Nonprofits.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about that. Tell me about your nonprofit, but also then maybe even the process. Like, just in case there's somebody listening that somebody at our church had something tragic happen, and so they're considering the same thing out of widowhood. So the starting point. So right now, tell me about the Daisy Foundation, because that's nationwide. It's a pretty big deal.
Thank you. Well, our foundation, I really do have to start and say, is a family affair. So it was my husband, Patrick, who passed away, but it was his dad, Mark, his stepmom, Bonnie, and myself, who really came together after he died. Tragically, I mean, he was only sick for 8 weeks. He was 33.
Wow.
We had just had Riley. She was 6 weeks old when he got sick, 3 months old when he died. And we knew right away that we wanted, where our focus went was something in his memory. What can we do in his memory? What can we do to keep his very special spirit alive? And we kept coming back to conversations about his nurses. This was, 8 weeks. We were a family who thought, okay, he's sick, but he's going to get better. And we expected excellent clinical skill. We hadn't spent a lot of time in the hospital, but we expected that they would be clinically excellent because he was so sick and he was declining every day and he wasn't getting better, and they would try this treatment or this procedure and it wouldn't work. But what we didn't expect was the care and compassion that they brought to him day in and day out, even when he was completely sedated, and the care and compassion that they brought to us. They took care of us as well. We were kind of like patients as well. And this was 25 years ago. So things in healthcare have really evolved to be more patient and family centered. But 25 years ago, sometimes, the family was told, okay, you can be here for certain hours and now you need to leave and go home. Or you couldn't get answers right away or things like that. But in our experience, we did. And the nurses really became part of our family. They became our lifeline. They translated things for us, because we would see the doctors and they were wonderful, but they were there for a short time, and sometimes they would say things and we wouldn't understand what was happening or what that meant. And so we got this tremendous connection with nurses, and we really had this aha moment where we said, let's thank his nurses and create this foundation, and with it an award where patients and families can thank their nurse, and these nurses can be recognized very publicly. We looked around again 25 years ago, and there wasn't a program like that. And so we started the Daisy Award as a way for a vehicle to do that. we filed our nonprofit paperwork, and the name, which I may not have correct, but it was a really long name, something like the Foundation for the Elimination of Autoimmune Diseases, because that's what Pat had. He had ITP and autoimmune disease. His body, his immune system was attacking his platelets as soon as he made them. And he couldn't, without platelets, which I didn't know this 25 years ago, I was on my dial-up Mac. What is a platelet? You can't clot your blood. If you get cut, if you start internally bleeding, you can't stop. So we filed our paperwork. We had this long name. It was in the state of Washington where he passed away. And when we came together to decide, okay, what are we going to do? Mark and Bonnie, Pat's dad and stepmom, and myself, our background is all marketing. And I said, no one's going to remember that name. And that's going to be really tough to have on anything or to explain to people. And so I actually came up with the acronym DAISY, and it stands for Diseases Attacking the Immune System. So an easier way, but still ties us back to the purpose and the foundation and to Pat. And that's really how it was born. And the award was, again, a way for patients and families to say thank you. And really, we thought nurse to nurse, but in the beginning that didn't happen because, and still to this day, a lot of times nurses don't see what other nurses are doing as extraordinary. They just think they're doing their job. But and they do, I mean, they will do peer-to-peer now, especially during COVID, but it's really a lot of times the patients and the families who want to thank their nurse, who want to tell a story about a difference a nurse has made that they'll never forget. And we thought if we could get it going in 10 or 15 hospitals, we started at the 2 that he was in. We were in Texas when he died, we were in Texas when he got sick. 4 weeks later, he was airlifted to Washington State where he was born and raised. We started it in those 2 hospitals. We thought if we could get this going in 10 or 15, we would start feeling better. We could try to start navigating what we were going to do with our life going forward. And it was definitely a slow go in the beginning. I give the credit to my in-laws because I had to go back to work. I had a newborn baby. I had to figure out what my life was going to be. So I could do things here and there, but they persisted and pressed on. And it was really, really slow. And it took 7, 8, 9, 10 years to really gain traction and to really have that commitment to stick with it and say, we're passionate about this and we're in it for the long haul. And then, as my father-in-law likes to say, the nurses got a hold of it and talk about it, and it started growing and growing and growing and growing. And now, in many different ways, beyond we've got a whole array of awards, but we have grant programs, different partnerships with different nursing associations, and today we partner with over 7,400 healthcare facilities and schools of nursing to honor, celebrate, and really showcase the amazing care and compassion that nurses and nurse-led teams and nurse leaders are providing to patients and families.
So who's getting that out there? Because I was wondering how big it is, because when my brother was in the hospital in Texas, I saw it on the wall, and then Max had his tonsils out, and it's not even a hospital, it's just where they do small procedures, and that's all the Daisy Foundation right there on the wall. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So is there a sales force, or is it just people are hearing about it and calling you and go, hey, can you bring this to us?
Right. So the way we're set up is we have a staff now of about 35-ish people, and we have managers and directors that have a region where when a hospital reaches out and wants more information, they can provide it. Let's say they want to start the DAISY program. They commit to the program. We help onboard them. They have access to a resource center that we have that'll have posters and flyers and banners and best practices. Bigger organizations might take that as a guide and might have their own marketing department that can create some materials, and they become our partner. So each year we check in with them, make sure everything's going okay. They have all the information that they need, the resources that they need, and then we ship them their award packages. They come at the end of the year, we check in, everything's going great, ready for year 2, yes. And so it's really a combination of us providing the guidance and information and templates and best practices, and then them really embedding it into their culture and into their processes to run the program, if you will. And really what it comes down to, and like you said, you see things, I always tell our partners, it's all about awareness, because if you're walking through a hospital and you don't see anything about Daisy, you may have had a great interaction, or you may really want to thank your nurse, but you don't see anything, so you don't know the opportunity. And that's where we say the flyers or the banners or whatever's going to work for their environment, something in the waiting room, something in the discharge packet that just lets them know, hey, if you want to thank your nurse, here's a way that you can do it.
That's pretty awesome. So my phone rang and I got distracted. I had a previous question.
Take your time. You can edit, right?
I can, yes, but I don't because that takes time. We're powering
It's
straight
just
through.
It's gonna roll.
Yes. Let's jump to you, Miss Erin, until I think of my question.
Yeah, interrupt me if you think of it.
Yeah, I will.
I thought of it. Wait.
So how did you go from grief to founding to Small Coins? Was there a small moment or special moment, or what took you in the same?
Great question. So I'm trying to think how it came to be. I feel like we're a baby compared to your organization, right? Which, like you said, it takes lots of years and time to get rolling, and we're in year 3.5. So we call ourselves the baby. But there has been so much growth and God's moving mountains. So we're just trying to keep up. We say we're building the plane in the air all the time because it just took off, and trying to like scramble and keep it up. And it's like, okay, we need a wing, we need an engine. Here we go. We're doing this. But so my husband, Christian, died. It's been 6.5 years. No, 7 years. I don't know. 2019. Let's just go with that. Great thing is I'm far enough to lose count.
Yes.
In the beginning, you're counting like days, right? So he died of a heart attack suddenly. My kids were 5 and 10 at the time. And it was like you, I mean, just sudden, right? You had 8 weeks, but you thought it's going to get better. There was no time to plan. There was no goodbye. He was just gone. So first year was survival. Second year, we moved to Georgia. And I remember, I guess where this all started was I remember being in our bedroom, like walking through the bedroom in Colorado. And I just felt like the audible voice of God saying, you will use this to help people. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. I was an artist. I was doing like creative coaching and consulting. And I thought maybe it's going to have something to do with that. And fast forward to moving to Georgia, I started meeting young widows that we had little kids and we were trying to raise them. And my friend Jill and I really hit it off. And we just started having conversations about how to help other people. And let me think. So Jill and I met in the fall, and she was having her second Christmas, I want to say. And she always tells the story when we're on something together. So I struggle with telling the story of how this started because she always tells it. But I knew that Christmas was going to be really hard for her. So I decided to do a Christmas stocking, and I stuffed it with stuff just to have for her because she was going to her parents' house in Minnesota. And, I remember my first Christmas not having anything under the tree for me or that was hard. Right. And I hadn't gotten anything for Christian. And I knew that going in, but when Christmas hit, it was hard. So I made a stocking for her Christmas morning, and that meant a lot to her. And as we were saying, we want to help other young widows, it started with that. She said, let's do Christmas stockings. So that's one of our biggest initiatives every year is we send Christmas stockings nationwide. This year will be our first international stockings going out, which is exciting.
International, huh?
Yeah, we have.
You should deliver them, hand deliver.
We should.
Do you need someone to get
Yeah.
Yes. Is that a write-off?
Y'all should join each other's cells.
That's right.
We can go visit nursing places
and deliver stockings.
Yeah.
There are lots of people being widowed in hospitals. We could be a
Hawaii
power team.
is a U.S. thing.
I mean, I'll go anywhere. Let's do it. So every Christmas we prep, and we're in the season right now. It starts in July for us to really plan and get going. And I feel like My kids just started school, but I'm already full on Christmas stocking planning. So, yeah.
It's kind of like me. I have to get my Christmas decorations down and start.
Start
You
your
have a
big
lot.
party.
You have a lot of them and a big
You
party
know?
every year.
Yes. So you do stockings and you do cinnamon rolls.
Well,
I don't know what that's about. I
that's a
just found
funny
that on the
story.
internet. So what's
this
that
is,
about?
This is a true story.
Yeah.
Pat loved sweet treats. He had a sweet tooth. He loved cinnamon rolls. His dad also loves cinnamon rolls. And so the story is, with his condition, it was getting very hard for him to eat. And he wasn't eating. Mark, his dad, one morning stopped at a Cinnabon on his way to see Pat and walked in. And we all know the cinnamon, that smell and everything.
Yeah.
And so Pat said, "Hey, Dad, can I have a bite?" I said, "Sure." And he ate the whole thing.
Wow.
And so Mark was a little miffed because he was like, "Oh, this is my cinnamon roll." But we were excited. We were like, "Oh, he's eating." So later that day, when Mark and Bonnie were leaving, he said, "Hey, Dad, can you bring me another cinnamon roll tomorrow? And please bring enough for all of my nurses."
Aww.
Sure. So the next morning, they come in with all these boxes, and everyone's happy, and it's great. And remember, this is 25 years ago in Amarillo, Texas. We're in a smaller regional hospital. Later that day, they come to us and said, "Can you take a break, maybe go get some coffee? We need to transfer him to a different room." I said, "Okay." So come back, and the only way I can describe this room was it looked like a hotel room. It was a big room with couches and a big screen TV, probably the only patient room like that in that hospital. And we joked that it was the cinnamon rolls that took Pat's name to the top of the list.
Top of the list.
To get the we don't know if that's true, but he got that room.
Got the VIP room.
And so when all of this happened, we incorporated, and a lot of things that we found with the foundation is things would start to fall in place, right? And this was one of them where we said, he loved those cinnamon rolls. It was his gift to his nurses. Would there be a way that we could provide cinnamon rolls at every Daisy Award presentation? And so my mother-in-law, Bonnie, contacted at the time, and maybe it still is, it was Focus Brands. They're were headquartered in Atlanta, and told them the story. And for many years, they helped provide, they would give us certificates where they would provide one free box of cinnamon rolls, and then usually the hospital would buy one other for the award presentations. And that went on for years, and it was really great. They probably donated over 1 million cinnamon rolls. Wow. But what happened, and I'm gonna guess here, maybe 2013-ish, 14, they're franchised, and we started outgrowing their, where they were located, because they weren't in everywhere where we were. You can't get them at the airport. And then they have different relationships where they might have Cinnabons at Schlotzsky's or Burger King or Pilot. And those people didn't know if someone came in with a certificate. Right. So operationally, logistically, it got kind of hard. And we eventually had to phase that process out. But it's still symbolic now, where we ask, if you can get Cinnabon, great. You may have a great relationship with your local bakery, or you may have your own local bakery or the cafeteria in your hospital. But we ask that that's part of the award presentation because it was a gift to his nurses. And we also hear from nurses all the time, "I couldn't have done this without my team." Yeah. And it's a way for them to all come together and celebrate over that as well.
That's awesome.
I love it.
So back to the rooms, I bet they do have rooms that are like private for famous people, for because what's his name? The famous actor that had a stroke about the same time my brother was in the hospital.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx. He was in Atlanta. Like, I would imagine he had a floor or something.
Sure.
Because
and a lot of hospitals do have that. But this was 25 years ago in Amarillo, Texas. So it was just, and I had never seen anything like that.
It was just him and Burt Reynolds were the only two people that could get that room. That's the one famous person I know.
That's right. Exactly.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. So you've grown also from stockings to
lots of things. You don't even have to try. Keep them in.
Yes.
We have grown a lot.
Remind me to tell you that joke once we cut off.
Got it. We've grown a lot where we are providing, we call ourselves kind of boots on the ground for widows. So we are checking in with our community. We host several events a month, several things where we're doing table talks is one of our most popular things. So we meet at a restaurant. We're moving that to people's homes in the fall. But we help, we bring in an expert of some sort. So because widows are struggling with what am I going to do for a living? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to raise these kids? So we might have, we've had financial conversations. We've had conversations around the last one we did was surviving versus thriving. Like, where are you in all of kind of mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally? Those are kind of our buckets that is part of our mission statement. And really diving into that because every day is different and each widow is specific. So we're trying to meet the widows where they are and help them with what they need. Some are very financially stable. Some can't put food on the tables. Some have a great faith and a great community. Some are super lonely and isolated. So just trying to help navigate and get them resources and plug them in. We're not recreating the wheel. There's a lot of great resources in our community and in the other communities. So we send them where there is help. And we really provide the community of you're not alone. We do spiritual care. We do Bible studies. We do kind of whatever is needed and just fun stuff. Mm-hmm. That's the fun too, is like, let's just meet for coffee. Let's go to the farmer's market. Let's just put something on your calendar so you have something to look forward to.
Yeah. I know y'all done stuff at Valentine's Day, which is probably important.
Yes. So then we do a big Valentine's. We call it a Galentine's dinner. We're going to add a Mother's Day brunch this year, and then we do a Friendsgiving. And those are all donor sponsored. So each year, a donor has come forward and said, we want to buy that meal. So we'll go to a really nice restaurant. This last Valentine's, we were here at Elliott's. We had the upper room. It was beautiful. It was a great evening, and we had selected like a menu. They kind of ask you to pare it down a little bit. So I tried really hard to pick like a salad and a chicken and a steak and something for everybody. And we get in there, and the entire room of 40 plus widows, except for one, Stacy ordered a hamburger. Everyone else got the steak and mashed potatoes, and it was like, life is hard, and we were eating the steak, and we were going to have the wine, and we were going to just celebrate, and it was fantastic.
So you welcome sponsors for the next
yes, so we are
next meeting.
We are always looking for what's coming up. Friendsgiving's coming up, and then we'll have 2 in the new year. So
either do y'all have fundraisers, or is it typically people that just hear about it and are just moved by it and make donations? I mean, how do y'all raise money for your?
So in the beginning, we did receive charitable donations, but we did not want to be a fundraising machine type of thing.
Yeah.
And it really was a gift from my in-laws, the program, to these hospitals, because we had 6, 10, 15. And when we started getting over 50, 75-ish, close to 100, we had to make the decision, and really Mark and Bonnie had to make the decision, are we going to continue to do this? How are we going to cover this? Is this going to be, this is how many we have and cut it off? And it was actually the president of a nursing association at the time. It was called AONE, the American Organization for Nurse Executives. It's now, since now AONL for nurse leaders. But it was the president at the time, Pam Thompson, who came to them and said, hospitals will pay for this program. It has value. Mm-hmm. It impacts retention and pride in your job and all of these other things. And she said it has value, they'll pay for it. And Bonnie did not want to charge for this program, but we really had to say, if we want to grow, we have to change our business model. Or we have to start fundraising all the time, which we didn't want to do. So we changed it, and our partners, which are hospitals and schools of nursing, they do pay for the program, but that covers part of the award. They get a certificate, they get a pin, they get a beautiful Healer's Touch sculpture, which is carved in Zimbabwe. There's a banner to hang in the unit. So it covers those costs, and we try to keep it as minimal as we can, so that it's affordable for the facilities. And my mother-in-law, Bonnie, called every single partner that we had at that time. Not one person turned it down or said, I don't want it anymore, I can't do it.
Wow.
And so that's, part of the funding. And then we also have industry partners, which are like sponsors. And that helps us to continue to grow, helps with our operational costs, with our staffing, because, almost 7,500 partners, you can't do that with 2 people, right? And you have to have the infrastructure to be able to support that. And so that's how we are able to.
And I know you're still heavily involved because you're leaving town and is it speaking at events or right? When you're traveling, what does that look like?
I do a combination of going to conferences. We do now at some conferences have breakfast events that I'll help coordinate for our partners to come and not only have breakfast, but we feature a Daisy story to kick off their day. I also will go visit hospitals, and that can look anywhere like, okay, I'm going to Miami for the week. Obviously, we reach out in advance and book all of this, but it could be I'm meeting with the committee to talk about their program. I'm answering questions. I'm sharing best practices. It could be they're gathering their past honorees who can make it. We're doing a meet and greet, so I can meet them. I can hear their stories. Or as I stay, when the stars align, because it's really hard, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to be at your hospital on Tuesday between 1 and 2. Can you make something work? And they might be able to do a Daisy Award where I can be there, where they surprise the nurse. They tell the story. We're able to give out the award materials. So it's a combination of consulting and celebrating, or going to conferences.
Well, I'm gonna ask. Might be a hard question, but just something that just popped in my head. So, do you ever feel like this for either of you that being part of the organization that you are keeps you in the grief? Do you ever feel like I just want to be done with this? I just want to. Not to have to think, because it's a constant reminder. And maybe that feeds your soul that you do want to constantly be reminded. But
Well, I can say for me, it took me probably almost 6 or 7 years before I could speak publicly. So I was behind the scenes, then I went back to work, and I just volunteered here and there wherever Mark and Bonnie needed me. I remember after I had Lauren, so this was 2003, we were at Piedmont Hospital. She was in the NICU, the one downtown, and I got home and I called Bonnie and said, I want to bring Daisy to Piedmont. She said, okay. And she called the chief nursing officer. We got everything worked out. And Mark and Bonnie came in town for the first presentation. And I said, I think I can do it. I can do it. And we're in the NICU, and I probably squeaked out 2, maybe 3 words. Started crying. I stepped back. Mark and Bonnie stepped forward. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not ready yet. So
and all your hormones were going after having a baby.
Yeah, that too, right?
That's hard.
But so it did take some time, but at the same time, it's one of those things, and I don't know if you agree, I think you do. You want people to talk about your husband or your loved one that you lost. It's kind of like the old adage, like, I'm not going to get upset. I know they died, right? But what I don't want you to feel like you can't mention their name or talk about them. I want you to remember them. And so it was more, yes, it was sad because I was sad he wasn't there, but it was also great because it's like, oh, look what we're doing in his memory, or people are remembering him, talking about it. And then I finally got to the point where I looked at what I called my Daisy days, when I was going to an award presentation as celebrating Pat. Right. And so it just shifted after time. It never goes away, but I think it does get more manageable to deal with. And I would rather have that in my life than to say I'm not going to be a part of it. That's just.
Yeah, no, I think the same thing. And everybody's got kind of a different journey with it. But for me, it helps honor Christian. It helps my kids see that I am doing something, and ours is very much the 3 of us, right? Like, we are doing something in honor of Dad. I think for me too, Christian was in ministry. He was a hospital chaplain. And so I have stories in my head, and I remember conversations after work of coming home from hospitals. And he walked with people through things that you went through. And so I feel like in a way it's continuing his ministry. And I think that's where I find joy from it is, and ironically, he went to seminary right after we first got married in California. And I was like, I'm not going to be a pastor's wife. Are you kidding? That is not who I am. I'm an artist and here I am all these years later doing ministry. But a lot of what I do too is things I learned from him. And so that's a neat thing that I have, that with his training and background and the grief work he did informs my work. So
I don't know why I never thought of that. I mean, what a great, for your daughter to really have known her dad. She does now.
Right.
And she probably gets to hear those stories all the time.
Right.
And now your kids are living it.
yeah.
Like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I do love too, with the way our foundation is set up and the culture of it, it's very much Pat's personality. He was very outgoing and personable and kind, and it just, the spirit of the program, I think, represents who he was. And so that helps remind us too about the person he was and his legacy. And what you're doing is so important, because I remember, people, I feel like for the first 6 weeks or the first 2 months, you've got everybody at your house calling you, texting you, emailing you, checking on you, and then everybody goes back to their lives. And it's not that they don't care, but they go back to their lives and their routine, and you're still there.
Right.
And sometimes very stuck on what do I do now, or not even knowing about resources or where to turn. And it's just really important to have that community, because you sometimes are just in such a place where you don't have the tools to move forward or to connect or to thrive rather than just survive. So it's really, that's a really important.
And I think that's something that, I mean, we're two examples. We do not have perfect lives. We struggle. We have hard things and raising kids, but we're okay. Right. And I think when we can show widows that are earlier on in their grief, you will be okay.
Right.
And it's going to be up and down, back and forth. But one thing I love about our community is we have brand new, it just happened last week, and we have 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And those women are speaking into the women that are kind of in the first parts of grief.
So, but your organization, and just to address that, because I know you, when you hear stories like this and find out about an organization like this, all of a sudden you are more aware of how many widows that you know. And then when someone passes away, just for people that want to share this information, people aren't always ready for it right away. So they can sign up right away for a stocking, but it's not necessarily something they want to. You're not wanting to push a friend into. They might not be ready for months. But sometimes. To create that connection, then when they're ready, they can come.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to reintroduce it, or if it's been 3 years, is it still something? Their husband died 4 years ago. Is it still?
100%. We had a new woman from Noonan that just learned about us, and she's almost at 8 years. So we are for widows at all stages. We are for widows that are remarried. We are for widows that are anywhere in their journey. And I think, the stockings for us are typically people nominating their friends or family. So saying, I want a stocking. Some widows do ask for them themselves if they find out about us, but mostly it's people sending on behalf, of their loss, of their person. But we are there. It does take, we try to make, at least locally here in Peachtree City, we have kind of become one of the first phone calls, which can be a little hard because, some pastor will call me and I'll be like, okay, I'm on it. I don't know them. I don't have a connection. So then I got to kind of be the investigator trying to find a connection. And typically what we do is we support their community first, because they aren't ready to walk into a room of a bunch of widows, or to meet with me. So it's often being a support for their friends and their family, asking, how do we help her? And then eventually, as she is kind of coming out of that fog and getting a little more stabilized, we can kind of start stepping in.
So what advice for, real quick, like my neighbor, that we talked about, whose husband passed away. I didn't know her very well. Didn't know them very well. But I find that I ignore them. I ignore her because I didn't know her very well. And I don't know when I knock on the door, do I act like I don't know? Do I act surprised? Do I say I'm so sorry? I don't know. What is, if somebody in their neighborhood, you know, at what point should they go knock on the door and just say hello or take them a cinnamon roll? Hell, maybe everybody that's listening from now on, when you find somebody, that's what you take them. Now your decision is made. They don't need flowers.
Take them a cinnamon roll.
They need cinnamon rolls.
But
Go ahead.
my advice is always show up. You always show up. They are not going to know what they need for a while. They're not going to know how you can help. They may shut the door in your face. Don't take it personal. It is just what they are going through. But I think the consistency and the showing up, that could be a letter in a mailbox, that could be a phone call or ringing a doorbell. And like you said, I guess in the beginning it's hard to talk about your person and what happened. Don't pepper them with questions. You know, I want to know every detail. That can be tempting because you're so curious. But I think acknowledging that they're gone and then not being afraid to talk about their person, because we want their memory to live on.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say it's when people are nervous, so they just don't want to talk to you or they don't say anything, and then you feel awkward.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't hesitate to even say, I'm really sorry about Tom or whatnot, and you know, I'm thinking about you, and
let me know if you need something.
Right. And I think that in this case you don't know them that well, but when you do know somebody, what I have found is if you can, rather than say, is there anything I can do to help, which sometimes that's all you can say, right? But if you know them a little bit more personally, you can just flat out say, I'm bringing you dinner on Monday. Or just an action, like not asking, but just saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to the grocery store, give me a list.
Like if you're in your yard working and you're like, oh, their bush needs to be cut, you just go cut it, right? You just kind of do some of those things. One of the greatest things I heard, I wish someone had done it for me, was a friend said, put your laundry on the doorstep in bags on Tuesday. I will have it folded and back on your doorstep Thursday. I'm not coming in. You don't have to answer the door. But every week.
Forget the meal train. That's brilliant.
Laundry.
Keep your underwear. Everything else.
Everything, especially if you've got little kids, right?
Oh,
to know that your laundry is getting done. It was like a free laundry service without interaction. And for you as the giver, I think to be okay, like it's not about you.
Right.
It's about what you can do for that person.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good one. I know I share that one a lot. But,
all right, let's go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like you said, like I've had that. This is the first thing I've been through that, and people experience this feeling for many reasons, race or socioeconomic, but the first thing I went through that I felt like a pariah in our community, where I'd be walking in the grocery aisle and someone I know well is coming towards me, and they get so awkward they turn around and just leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
you feel.
And then you feel terrible, you know, which was not their intention.
Yeah.
And that's where I would say just, it might feel scary, but just do it, because that adds piles on the grief.
Okay. Well, I want to switch gears a little bit and just talk about real quick. I mean, I'm sure it's an extremely long process, but just real quick, if somebody wanted to create a nonprofit, what is the resource? What's the first step? Or, you know, it doesn't have to be the entire thing. Or one thing that I wish I would have known when I did this. What would make it easier? Where do they start? Anything along those lines that you want to answer?
Well,
what was your first step?
I think it was coming up with the concept, right, and just kind of thinking through what the concept is and how it's going to work and how it can be structured. Thinking about the resources you'll need to have in place, and then it is filing your paperwork, and not giving up. Really being open to talking to people, taking feedback. We've made a lot of changes, a lot of tweaks. We've learned from people. We've pivoted. We've learned from people to be able to grow and expand. But just thinking through and really troubleshooting maybe with friends. I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think about this concept? Well, how it would work. going through the steps so that you can identify things maybe up front that might be challenges or different things that you need to think through, is what we're doing. What is the end game? Is it bringing, what is it going to bring to other people, to organizations, to yourself? Really thinking that through. For us, it was just a very simple, we wanted to say thank you, and we had no idea that it would get this big. But I think a lot of the success was making those relationships, listening to people, learning, being able to take feedback, and fostering the relationships to continue to grow.
So would you advise somebody more to spend a few months planning and thinking and asking questions, or build your plan in the air?
We did both.
I would think someone might get overwhelmed in the details and oh my God, I don't know how to file a business license, and all of a sudden it kind of squashes maybe a dream, or maybe that's what makes y'all so special, is that that was tough and you pushed through that.
I think it's a combination, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can spend months, years with anything, going through every scenario or the detail, but I think you have to have an overarching concept and think through something so that you don't move forward and it's not working, and then you feel discouraged and think, well, I can't do this. So I think it's really a combination of, you don't want to wait too long. You want to take that idea and that passion, but you do need to think through a few things, maybe bounce it off some other, family or friends, but also sticking with it, because sometimes people will say, oh, I don't think that'll work, but if you really feel like I've got something here, it may take some time, but stick with it.
I think that's the thing, and it comes from that heart place, right? Of this is something I care about, and this is something I want to do. And for us, it's been being very clear, because we did a combination of both, of like some dreaming, planning, praying, and then, okay, let's meet with an attorney, let's file papers. And you just keep taking the next right step. And for a lot of our learning has been around being, as we're newer, what is our mission? What is our purpose? We know where our heart came from. We knew why we wanted to do this, but being clear and getting clear with your mission and sticking to it. And everyone then that you bring into the organization is part of that mission, and that is the mission. So it can go a bunch of different directions sometimes, but the heart and the core is always there, because I think you can get really lost trying to do everything, and you can't do everything well. And that's what I would say too, is it can feel sometimes like there's not a seat for you at the table, but there's always a seat at the table. There's always a need. There's always some way you can help. Even if there's other organizations doing something similar,
maybe you partner together.
Maybe you partner.
You
maybe
learn from them.
Just keep going and stick to your
Stockings
plan.
for nurses.
You never know. Cinnamon rolls for widows.
Cinnamon rolls in stockings.
That brings up a good point, though. Mission, vision, values, and try to keep it as succinct as possible, because when you go and write a novel, that's where you get really like, okay, well, does this fall under our mission? Well, we have all this. Keep it succinct and clear, and look at your mission, your vision, and your values. And we revisit that every year. Every single year at our board meeting or internally, we read and mission, vision, values, and are we aligned here? We have a big decision to make. Is this part of our mission? Does this fall under what we set out to do?
Well, last question. This might be the hardest question. It might be something you've never thought of.
Okay.
What is, I don't want to call it an exit strategy. What does the end for you look like? What does the end for you look like? Like, normal job, we retire. And we move on, and we don't care anything about the FAA anymore. Don't care if the building burns down. But obviously, you have a legacy in what you're building. Do you pass it on to your children? Is it something that you've built an organization that's strong enough to sustain? Is it, you have no idea, and you're not even big enough to care? Because y'all are in two different places with time frames and sizes. But
That's a good question.
Have you thought about that, what it might look like?
Well, I've thought about it just because of, we're 25 years in. I'm older than you are. John told me I can never retire, by the way.
because he did, so you gotta keep
Right,
going.
I gotta keep going. But no, I really do feel like I'm with because we are a family foundation and because of our history and what we do, I really do feel like I'm in it for the long haul, and we hope that there will always be a family member who is a part of the foundation and who is working in some capacity with it. We do say that we hire people who share our passion and our vision and are like family. And we also try to have people that work with us, industry. Like we hired our very first nurse, gosh, probably now 10 years ago. She was our executive director, was the first nurse that was on staff. Cindy Sweeney, talked to her this morning. She retired a while back. She calls it preferment, so she does what she prefers. And we hired another nurse, a nurse leader, Dr. Deb Zimmerman, and she's a former chief nursing officer. She's the president of AONL, to help guide us in what we're doing. And so I think it's a combination of, again, surrounding yourself or including people within your organization that are like-minded, and also having people connected to the industry that can help continue, because healthcare is changing all the time. And we rely on our board, but it's great to have a CEO that can really help guide us in decisions that we're making. But I can't see myself, it's such a part of me, I can't see myself ever just walking away and saying, good luck, guys, I hope you...
So it's just your level of involvement will be reduced, but you'll still be a part of it.
Right, but we really are trying to put things in place where when we're not here anymore, Daisy can continue. Yeah.
And I'm thinking now that might be different for us as founders of something, co-founders of something, versus someone that maybe works for... Knack is barking. Works for Salvation Army or some other nonprofit where they come in for a period, but it was going before and it will continue.
Exactly. And they know it's going to go on.
And they know it's going to go on.
Right.
Yeah, where we're in a different position. I've actually never thought about this question.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. My hope would be that this would continue when we have conversations with our board. It is definitely how are we planning well enough so that 75 years from now, 100 years from now, two small coins,
it can be sustainable.
Is sustainable. So, I mean, I don't see my kids doing anything with it because they haven't been widowed. Maybe being on the board, maybe like still being a part of it. But who knows? They're still young and doing other stuff. But I don't know. And I've wondered too about, am I going to age out because of our ministry? Because we are here for widows of any age. Stockings go to widows and widowers of any age, anywhere in the world. Our focus for a lot of things, though, are it's kind of ranging 65 and under, right? We've got 20-year-olds and we've got 65, like still raising kids, or maybe your kids are in their 20s. They're going through college. There's a lot. That seems to be our strongest community. So when I'm 65, when I'm 70, they may be like, they may not relate to me. I don't know. So it'll be interesting how that will pass down. I just don't know yet.
Right. It'll be interesting too, because I think about my mom, who she's 89. My dad died in 2007, and they were married for 50 years, and she had a really hard time, not tech savvy. So I do think there's a segment for older widows as well who, yes, they had 50 years with their husband, but it's still a tremendous loss, and they're still lost in many cases.
And part of what I think we found it, and I think God just brought younger widows to us because we were younger, but also there, at least in this community, there is a lot of support for the older widow, and there is not for raising kids. It's you kind of get lumped in with the single moms, the divorced moms, and nothing wrong with that. We're all juggling the same stuff, but there's just a niche that something different.
Well, I appreciate
It's a
y'all
good
very
question.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.
I was scared
Thanks
to
for
ask that. I
having
was like,
us.
oh, were they?
It's very thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's what I do, transitions and provoke thought.
Yeah, your
That is my
transitions
skill.
got smoother as this went along. That first one was just.
Straight to it. Well, thank y'all very much. First time I've looked at the camera, I told you I'd never do it, but no. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Again, everybody have a great day. If you want to donate time, money, or recognize somebody, you could sign up to have somebody a stocking delivered. You can nominate a nurse at daisydukes.org.
daisyfoundation.org. So if I could just say, some facilities will have their own online form, paper forms. If they don't have their own online form, you can go to daisyfoundation.org, and right on the front page it says nominate a nurse. And I'll say it's never too late. We have people will come to us and say, I had a nurse 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I still remember he or she. If they're still there, nominate them, give them that feedback. Because here's the thing, even if they don't get selected to receive the award, that nomination is recognition in of itself. And those nurses will keep those letters. And my favorite quote is from a nurse that was nominated but not selected to receive the award. She said, my patient chose me. And they keep it close to their heart. So I will say, we're trying to get out to the public because we don't have big advertising campaigns or dollars to do that. So we talk really well within the hospital world, healthcare world, but we're really trying to get out to consumers. If you've had great care and you want to thank your nurse or a nurse-led team, here's one way you can do it.
I know we have a lot of widows that have shared stories about their.
Some days are non-stop. You blink and suddenly it's 4 p.m., you've skipped lunch, and you're just trying to make it to dinner without crashing. That's exactly the moment when I reach for my buddy David.
Come on now.
David protein bars are made for moments like that. They're packed with 28 grams of protein, just 150 calories, and absolutely zero sugar.
Guys,
are you having a David day?
I'm having a David day today.
Yeah.
There's one in the backpack right now. I'm about to pound it with some water.
What's that flavor?
It's
that
vanilla.
flavor?
It's
Vanilla.
it's the vanilla joint, and it tastes good. Right, because a lot of these things are sort of chalky and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like this thing tastes good.
I look forward to it.
Right after the workout, if I put one down, like I feel my muscles. I feel strong like Popeye.
Yeah.
You guys
Thank
understand what
you.
I'm telling
Oh, yeah.
you?
And I don't know what it is. If you're a sensory person, but they got these little crispy, crunchy
Yeah, they've got like a
balls
little
in them.
They do.
crunchy.
And
Yes,
they got that
pause.
little crunch.
Yes.
Little crunch.
Yeah.
Very satisfying.
I dig it.
Well, most protein bars are candy bars in disguise.
Right.
But David is different. With 75% of its calories coming from protein, it's one of the highest protein to calorie ratios you will find anywhere.
come on.
Plus, gotta say, the packaging is iconic. The ingredients are clean, and the flavors are so good. I am a peanut butter girly for life, so anything peanut butter
feel you.
is gonna be my jam.
As soon as you pull one out, people are like, that looks expensive.
It's
classy
It just
packaging.
looks fancy.
Yeah.
It's good. David is ideal for people looking to increase protein, cut sugar, and manage calorie intake. That's why I always have David protein bars with me. David is offering our listeners a deal to buy 4 cartons and get the 5th free at davidprotein.com/thatwasus. That's davidprotein.com/thatwasus to get your 5th carton free.